capacity. Okay. Yes. In last class, we have ended up with this one. This was respiratory and pulmonary volumes. So now the next thing which we are going to cover, that is the lungs capacity. So now we have to talk about the lungs capacity. So first, respiratory lungs capacity can also be called respiratory or pulmonary capacity. So put the heading. Next one, lungs capacity or pulmonary capacity. Lungs capacity. Lungs lungs capacity. So fine. Out of this lungs capacity, the first capacity is inspiratory capacity. So first one is inspiratory capacity. Now, what is inspiratory capacity? So this is the amount, or this is the amount of air which a normal person can inspire after a normal expiration, right? So look, now let me explain you more. So first is inspiratory capacity. Inspiratory capacity. Inspiratory capacity is called IC. So what is IC? Note it down. This is the total volume of air. This is the total volume of air a person can, total volume of air a person can inspire, a person can inspire after a normal expiration, after a normal expiration. So suppose that I have removed air from my body, I have expired. Now again I am trying to inspire the total volume of air which I can inspire, right? That is my limit. The total volume which can normally, which I will inspire, that will be tidal volume. But the total which I can inspire, that is my inspiring capacity. That will be called my inspiring capacity. Means my capacity to take air inside, that is called inspiring capacity. So IC is, so first what I can inspire, that will be equal to tidal volume. We have studied about the tidal volume. It is 500 ml only, right? So that will be tidal volume. Tidal volume formula will be tidal volume plus what I can inspire more, that will be equal to inspiratory reserve volume, which I can inspire after this 500 ml. So that will be inspiratory reserve volume. So inspiratory capacity IC will be equal to TV plus IRV. So that will be the formula for inspiratory capacity. Means the capacity of a person to inspire, the maximum capacity of person to inspire a air volume of. Is it clear? In case if it's not clear at any point, so feel free to ask me. I'll again explain you in an some other way, because these are very important when you will encounter the previous year question bank in medical examination.
Can you
Definitely you will
explain the
get.
tidal volume?
Tidal volume is the normal, like I am breathing, right? I am teaching you, I am breathing in, breathing out. So like normally we in last class we have studied that normally what we breathe in or breathe out, that is the just one, that is the 500 ml tidal volume, 500 ml. So 500 ml is the volume which breathe in or breathe out once in a time at normal situation, right? This is called TB. Okay. So the next one is expiratory capacity. Means what is my capacity to expire, means how much volume I can expire maximum at max. So expiratory capacity. Expiratory capacity is EC. So please note it down. Total volume of air. Total volume of air a person can expire. Total volume of air a person can expire after a normal inspiration. So what will be the formula for EC? Can anybody tell me?
Sir, can you please repeat it?
The total volume of air.
Sir, it will be same as
the
for
total
IC.
IC. No, it's not same as IC. IC is how you no, it will be different. You know, one thing what I want to tell you, that you cannot expire the same amount of the air which can you inspire. Your inspiratory capacity is more and expiratory capacity is less. So total volume of air a person can expire. Total volume of air a person can expire after normal inspiration. So expiratory capacity will be equal to first TV tidal volume, that 500 ml we take in, a 500 ml take out. So that will be equal to tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume. Expiratory reserve volume. Let me tell you. I said you what is the tidal volume. Now I am breathing in and breathing out. I am teaching you I am breathing in and breathing out. That is a 500 ml. Every time I am taking in, when I breathe in, take 500 ml. When we breathe out, we take out the 500 ml. Right. Now what is the IRV? I have taken 500 ml. How much I more can take it? That is the IRV. Right. In the same way, I expand. Now when I push the force, how much more I can expand, that is will be ERV, right? So EC will be equal to expiratory capacity will be equal to TV plus ERV. Is it correct? Clear? EC and IC clear to all of you? Please tell me.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And keep on noting down. Keep on noting down formula. These volume you have to like revise minimum 4 to 5 times, right? Minimum 4 to 5 times. Now, what is the functional residual capacity, FRC? Functional residual capacity, that is FRC. Now, what is FRC? Please first note down, then I'll explain. The volume of air remains in lungs. The volume of air remains in lungs after normal expiration. The volume of air remains in lungs after a normal expiration is called functional residual capacity. Is called functional residual capacity. So what is that? Normally I am breathing in and breathing out. I told you that is a tidal volume. Means every time I am taking in 500 ml, taking out 500 ml, tidal volume, right? So what is the FRC? When I breathe out, still ample amount of the air remains inside my lungs, which is operating my rest of the function, like rest of the respiration function. It is operating my body metabolism. If it would not have been over there, then I would not have been alive, right? My all metabolic reactions might have stopped, right? So the volume of air that remains inside in our lungs, even whenever we normally expire, that is called functional residual capacity. That residual volume of air which remains inside the lungs after expiration, and that is functional part. Is it clear?
Yes.
What is FRC? FRV. So functional residual capacity. Functional residual capacity, FRC, is equal to residual volume. Residual volume. We have studied that the volume which cannot be removed from our lungs, it always remains at the most forceful expiration. You try to push the force and try to expire all the air. Still some amount of the air that is not going out of your lungs, it will always be inside your lungs. Means that residual volume, that reserve oxygen that cannot be removed from our lungs, that is called residual volume. Plus what I said, normally I have expired 500 ml. Now I will put more force. So what I will put more force, then I will remove some more amount of the air. That will be equal to expiratory reserve volume, right? So that will be equal to residual volume plus ERV. Expiratory reserve volume, ERV. So FRC is equal to RV plus ERV. That is called functional residual volume. Is it clear?
Yes.
Great. The fourth one is vital capacity. Vital capacity, VC. Please note it down first. The maximum volume of air a person can breathe out. Maximum amount of air a person can breathe out after a forceful inspiration. the maximum volume of air a person can breathe out after a forceful expiration, or the maximum amount of air or the maximum amount of air a person can breathe out after forced inspiration is called vital capacity. So vital capacity is the capacity of a person which the maximum amount of air which it can inspire or expire, the maximum amount of air which can hold. So vital capacity, you know that the vital capacity is very small in those people who are basically what to say, who are basically lazy kind of the people. But vital capacity is very large, like very in great amount. It varies. It is in very great amount, or those people who are athlete or which are runner, right? So vital capacity varies from person to person, right? So what is the vital capacity? So vital capacity will be equal to VC. VC will be equal to total lungs capacity, total lungs capacity, total lungs capacity minus residual volume, residual volume. So note it down. Total lungs capacity means the total capacity which a lungs have, means the total air which lungs can hold, and that minus the amount of air which cannot be breathed out. That is the residual volume. Please have a note below this point. Note it down. The VC varies from 3400 ml to 4800 ml. 4800 ml. VC varies from 3400 ml to 4800 ml, depending on age, sex, volume. Depending on age, sex, volume. Right? Next, what is that? One more. So that is total lungs capacity, TLC. So fifth one is TLC, total lungs capacity. Total lungs. Note it down. Total volume of air. Total volume of air present in lungs and respiratory passes. Total volume of air present in lungs and respiratory passes after maximum inspiration. After maximum inspiration. So that is total lungs capacity, means the capacity of the lungs, right? Now have a glance. In case if you have any doubt on any of the volume, then please ask me.
Sir, isn't it the same as FRC, like the functional residual capacity?
Function total TLC.
Yeah.
TLC is like the total volume of air which we can have in lungs as well as in respiratory press, mean trachea and all that, right? So functional FRC is that when we expired out. So when we expired, then the amount of air which remains in our lungs. So that is a very less amount, right? But the TLC is that I have expired. Now what you will calculate? You will calculate the volume of air inside of my alveoli. Then the volume of air which is even present in my trachea. So that total volume is called TLC. Clear?
Yes, sir.
In vital capacity, we will not count this, the air which is present in our trachea, respiratory basis. We won't count. So, fine. Now, the next thing is that, okay.
Sir,
Yes.
in tidal volume, the 500 ml is the amount of inspiration or expiration that we do at once, right?
Yes.
And
Once.
the 6000 ml and 1100 ml is the total.
Look. Let me go it. Here, tidal volume. You are talking about tidal volume. TV. Yes, Yushra, are you talking about TV?
Yes, sir.
Yes, TV is 500 ml. Once we take in and take out, that is a 500 ml every time. Like I breathe in, I have taken 500 ml. I breathe out, I have expired 500 ml. Right? Every time that is 500.
600 to 1800 ml. Sorry.
6000 to 1800 ml per minute. Per minute. In 1 minute, average rate of respiration is 14 to 18. Clear? Yes, Yushra, clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Tell me if clear, then okay. If not, then I'll explain you more in better way.
Again, please explain it once more.
Clear? Okay, fine. Then no issue. Anyone else? Any more question? No question. One more thing which I want to discuss with you, then we will go to the mechanism of respiration, how the respiration takes place, how we respire, how our bones and lungs are helping, they help in our respiration process, right? Before going into that, I want to tell you, I have a question for you. Every one of you must have seen in at least in movie, like when a child get a birth, either it's male, female, whatever, a child, a small like infant, when it takes birth, what doctor do? They hang him or her down, and if he or she is crying, then it's okay. If he or she is not crying, they will start beating that child, beating at the back. Why do they do this practice? And you must have listened that it is very necessary for a child to cry after the birth. That is very necessary. Why? Why he or she can't laugh? Why it is required for him or her to like cry? Any idea?
I
No?
think, sir, the babies don't, if the baby is not crying, the doctors hit the back of the baby because there is only a particular span of time where they can get the baby back to life. So I think that's why.
Why, like, why did they do that? Miss, how he or she can lost her life? Look, I will tell you in this case only. For sake of example, these are the lungs, right? So inside the lungs there are alveoli. Our alveoli always remains in this state, right? These are the alveoli, and they always remains in this state, because if they will collapse, then the complete oxygen will be exhaust and the person will die. So to keep these alveoli in like this swollen condition, or we can say in turgid condition, there is a layer or film inside our alveoli which keep them tight, or which keep them in this shape, and this film is called lecithin. So what lecithin do? Lecithin maintain the surface tension and keep alveoli open. If lecithin layer is not there, then what will happen? These alveoli will collapse and the person will not be able to respire. So whenever an infant is inside mother's womb, whenever the infant inside mother's womb, what happens? The alveoli remains in like what? Shrink condition. When a person take breathe, then alveoli get swollen by breathing in. When it cry, then when it cry, what they do? They take large amount of the oxygen and large amount of the air inside the body. And when they keep on crying, they breathe in and breathe out. By this way, their alveoli becomes tight or turgid, and they hold air inside. But if a child is not crying, then what will happen? These alveoli will not become turgid or tight. Surface tension will not come over there, and the gaseous exchange will not take place, and a child may die. So to the way you put the air inside the you bring a balloon, a hollow balloon, a normal balloon in a packet, a balloon packet at your birthday party. What you do, first you put it in your mouth and you push air so that they become turgid and their shape increases and they become open, right? To make them open, you push the air. So in the same way, like you bring the volume of this balloon in at your home, the same way the lungs of our kids are over there. So to make them open, it is must for a baby to cry. Clear?
Yes, sir. So, sir, a kid doesn't respond.
They didn't respire inside the mother's womb. They take the oxygen from the when a child is inside mother womb, there is a liquid, and that liquid is actually called it's a high amount of ureas over there. Let me recall that the name of the liquid. The name of that liquid is what to say. That liquid is used in sex determination, and I just forget the name of that liquid. So that is there is a like liquid where the baby float, and it take the oxygen and remove the carbon dioxide, will help of the process diffusion process, right? So amniotic fluid, amniotic fluid. So inside mother womb where a baby float, that is called amniotic fluid, and the baby take oxygen and remove its carbon dioxide through the amniotic fluid by the process of diffusion only. Lungs are not functional at that time. Clear?
Yes.
Some of the child do not when they born, the lecithin layer is not formed inside their body. What happened? They are the child which are unable to breathe in, and immediately doctor move to the this artificial oxygen supply system and keep them in life supporting system, and it's really very difficult for them to save. So lecithin layer formation is must for a child who takes birth. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now please note it down. A film of lecithin in note. Put a note after this topic. Put a note. Note. A film of lecithin lies normally. A film of lecithin lie normally. The alveoli of lungs. The alveoli of lungs that lowers the alveoli of lungs that lowers the surface tension. Alveoli of lungs that lower the surface tension and keep alveoli open. That lower the surface tension and keep alveoli open. Full stop. However, in some newborn babies, the film lecithin may not be present. Film lecithin may not be present. Full stop. This is fatal to baby. This is fatal to baby due to collapsing of lung. This is fatal to baby due to collapsing of lungs. Full stop. So the question, this layer have been asked in your medical examination of AIMS examination. In AIMS, the question have been asked. That's why I mentioned especially this question. Fine. So,
So what's after collapsing of?
sorry.
What's after collapsing of?
After collapsing of lungs. Collapsing of lungs. So the next topic is, next heading is, in fact, put the heading, the steps of respiration. The steps of respiration. How does the respiration takes place? So keep on writing. So what is the first step? You have to put the point 1, point 2, point 3. So first step. Breathing is inspiration and expiration. Breathing is inspiration and expiration. Inspiration. Breathing is inspiration and expiration of air between atmosphere and alveoli of lungs. Between atmosphere and alveoli of lungs. So what is the respiration? Respiration is just taking air inside and removing air outside. That is the only part which is called respiration. Breathing, sorry. This is called only breathing. This is not the respiration. This is breathing. Burning of food is called respiration. We have studied already that thing. Second. So what is the second step? First step is, that is expiration and inspiration. That is called breathing. So first step is breathing. So during the process of respiration, first breathing takes place. Then second, diffusion of O2 and CO2. Diffusion of O2 and CO2 across the membrane. Diffusion of O2 and CO2 across the membrane. Across the membrane. Diffusion of O2 and CO2 across the membrane. Next, then diffusion takes place. What is the third step? Transport of gases. Transport of gases by blood. Transport of gases by blood. Now the fourth step. Diffusion of O2 and CO2. O2 and CO2 between blood and tissue. Diffusion of O2 and CO2. So blood goes to the tissue, it delivers O2 and takes back CO2. Right? That is the fifth step. Fourth step. What is the fifth step? Fifth one. Utilization of O2. Utilization of O2 by the cells. Utilization of O2 by the cells for catabolic reaction. For catabolic reaction and resultant release of CO2 and resultant release of CO2 in cellular respiration. In cellular respiration. Right? So that is the mechanism, the step of respiration. Now, yes. What is the next thing? That is the, put the heading, mechanism of respiration. That is the mechanism of respiration. What is the mechanism of respiration? Next, in the next slide, I'll discuss with you mechanism of respiration. Now, put the heading, mechanism of respiration. These were a step. In mechanism of respiration, first I'll how we inspire, how we expire. That is the thing which I want to discuss with you. First, I'll show you a diagram. So put the first heading, and that is inspiration. Respiration. Yes. So in mechanism of inspiration, first I'll try to make you understand that how does it take place. Look. First, try to know what is the intercostal muscles. What are internal intercostal muscles? What are external intercostal muscles? First, I will tell you what are these muscles. So, for sake of example, these are ribs. So these are our ribs. Means this is the front side and this is the back side. This is front side where they remains united with the help of sternum, right? So this is front and this is back side. So there are certain muscles which are present inside the ribs, inner side to the ribs, right? So whenever these muscles contract, they contract or compress the ribs, right? These muscles are called internal intercostal muscle. Internal intercostal muscle. Intercostal muscle, right? The another one, that is there are some muscles which remains connected outside, so they are found outside of the ribs. Whenever these external muscle contract, then what will happen? Ribs will expand, right? These are called external intercostal muscle. They are called external intercostal. They are called external intercostal muscle. So if they will contract, then they will relax. If they will contract, then they will relax. If one of them will contract, then other have to relax, right? Suppose that if internal intercostal muscle contract, then external will relax. If external will contract, then internal will relax. That's how the process takes place. Is it clear or not? The positioning is clear?
Yes.
Okay. You have to draw the diagram after the my explanation first. So how does we inspire? What happened during the time of breathing? When we breathe in, what happens? Internal intercostal muscle relax, right? And external intercostal muscle contract. What happened? Internal intercostal muscle relax and external contract. So when external will contract, then what will happen? These ribs will go outside and upward like this. These ribs will go outside and upward. Rib cage will move upward and outside, right? Upward and outward. Again, we have already discussed that there is a curtain-like structure. This is called diaphragm. What happened during breathe in? The diaphragm goes down. Diaphragm goes down. So when diaphragm will go down, then what will happen? Then the volume diaphragm will go down, and these ribs will come outward and upward. Then what will happen? Volume of the thoracic cavity, mean volumes of the lungs, will increase. So volume of the lungs will increase. When volume will increase, then pressure inside the alveoli, means lungs, pressure inside the alveoli will decrease. When pressure inside decreases and in atmosphere the pressure is high, what will happen? Automatically the air will go from external atmosphere to our lungs. That's how the breathing takes place. Is it clear or not? Please tell me.
Sir, can you explain it once more, please?
Sorry, please be louder, beta.
Can you please explain it once more?
Explain once again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. Look, there are certain muscles. Look, this is my chest, right? What happened? There are certain muscles which are connected outward from bones of ribs to my muscles, right? These are called external intercostal muscles. There are certain muscles which are present inside my body and they are pulling my ribs from inside. They are called internal intercostal muscles. Clear?
Yes, sir.
When I will breathe in, what will happen? How I will breathe in? How I am taking air inside? What will happen? internal intercostal muscle will relax, right? Internal. So internal will relax. Now external intercostal muscle will contract. When they will contract, they will pull my ribs outward. Yes. When external will contract, what they will do? They will pull my ribs outward. Yes.
Yes, sir. So,
So
sir,
they are pulling
external
ribs.
intercostal muscles, they expand when we breathe in.
Right.
Okay.
Internal, they have to
Sir, you're
one. I
saying
have shown.
contract, sir. I was confused. You're saying contract. Just now.
Look, I'm telling you again. What will happen? Suppose that there is a person. Look, what happened in breathing in time? Suppose that this is our rib cage. During breathing, what happens? These external intercostal muscles, they contract, right? So when they will contract, they will pull rib upward, outward. Yes, they will pull rib outward. They will contract. So they will pull external. So when external will contract, they will pull rib outward. Yes. And if external is contracting, then internal have to relax. Internal will relax. Yes. Definitely. Then internal have to relax. Otherwise, rib will not come upward. Right. So internal will relax. Then what will happen? The ribs will go outside. Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Ribs will come outside, right? Then when the ribs will come outside, then what will happen? Volume inside the lungs will increase. Now, one more thing is playing role over here, that is a diaphragm. Diaphragm is concave structure. It will going down. When it will go down, then this convex surface will become flat. Again, the volume will increase. When the volume will increase, then pressure inside the lungs will become low. When pressure inside the lungs will be low, then automatically air will go inside. Is it clear? Tell me, is it clear or not? Be honest. Yes.
Diaphragm, you can explain again, sir.
Diaphragm is a curtain-like structure. It will, when it is in like this, like a structure, convex structure. When we breathe in, it will become flat. When it will become flat, then volume will automatically increase. Yes. Give me 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Give me 1 second. In case if I have a video, I'll try to share with you. In case of if I get video, then that will become more easier for you to understand. Look, I'm trying to show you a diagram. Give me just a minute, and that will help us to understand. Look, how does the mechanism of breathing takes place? Come on. Look, this is diaphragm. This is diaphragm, right? So how does it look? This is the process of breathing. Look, what happened during the process of breathing? I want to tell you. Give me 1 second. In the process of breathing, what happened? These are the ribs, right? So when during the time of breathing, these ribs are pulled outside by the external intercostal muscle. So when external intercostal muscle contract, they will pull ribs outside, right? And when external intercostal muscle will contract and they will pull rib outside, then internal muscle will become relaxed condition, right? So what will happen in total? The force will be generated towards the outside. Then ribs will come outside and upward, means in this direction, outside and upward in this direction. In the same time, the diaphragm goes down. So when the diaphragm is going down, look, the same mechanism is over here. Look. Yes. Internal intercostal muscles are relaxing. Diaphragm is going down. External is contracting. That's how we are inspiring. That's how we are taking the oxygen inside. Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So do one thing. Please note it down. Mechanism of inspiration. Mechanism of inspiration. First point. External intercostal muscle contract and internal get relaxed. Full stop. Due to contraction of external muscles, due to contraction of external muscles, ribs are pulled. Ribs are pulled upward and outward. Ribs are pulled upward and outward. By this way, they increase. By this way, they increase volume. By this way, they increase volume of lungs. Next, diaphragm becomes flat. Diaphragm becomes flat and get lowered. Diaphragm becomes flat and get lowered. By this way,
So can you repeat after flat?
diaphragm get flat and diaphragm become flat and get lowered. Diaphragm become flat and get lowered by contraction of muscle. Next point. due to above process, volume of lungs increases. Due to above process, volume of lungs increases. Full stop. Pressure inside alveoli decreases. Pressure inside alveoli decreases. And
It increases or decreases?
pressure decreases. When the pressure will decrease, then the gas will come inside. Yes. So
Yes.
air always move from high pressure to low pressure. So when there will be low pressure inside lungs and high pressure in atmosphere, then only the oxygen will go inside. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Pressure inside alveoli decreases. Hence, air moves from atmosphere to lungs. Hence, air moves from atmosphere to lungs. Right? Now, expiration is just opposite to this one. Now, put the heading, mechanism of expiration. Mechanism of expiration. So it is also called exhalation or expiration. So what is expiration? Look. In this process, it is just opposite to above one. In expiration process, the opposite. Look. Internal intercostal muscle contract. Now the internal one contract. So what will happen? This is our rib. This is our rib. Now internal intercostal muscle contract. Again, what I told you. If internal will contract, then external have to be relaxed. Then external intercostal muscle will be relaxed, right? So external will be relaxed. So when internal will contract, then ribs will go inside and downward. Again, diaphragm will come again. It's at its position. It will become convex. So when diaphragm will come upside, ribs will go inside. What will happen? It is like there is a balloon. We are pressing from outside to inside and from bottom to upward. So what will happen? The pressure inside will increase. When pressure inside will increase, then air will start moving out from the lungs to the external atmosphere. Clear?
Yes.
Fine. So please note it down. Mechanism of expiration. Internal intercostal muscle contract. Internal intercostal muscle contract. Full stop. These muscle contract. These muscle contract so that they pull rib downward, and inward. Full stop. Next point. Diaphragm get relaxed. Diaphragm get relaxed and move upward. Diaphragm get relaxed and move upward, hence making convex shape, hence making convex shape. Full stop. By this way, it decreases volume of lungs. By this way, it decreases volume of lungs. Full stop. Next point. Air start moving outside. Air start moving outside. That's how expiration takes place. Clear? Inspiration, expiration, clear or not?
Yes.
Amuna, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there is one more important thing. It's very simple. What is RQ? So there are some figure and fact as well. So you have to remember what is the RQ. That is called respiratory quotient. So what is RQ? RQ is called respiratory. Put the heading respiratory quotient. So what is the respiratory quotient? So there is a formula. RQ is equal to volume of CO2 evolved and volume of O2 absorbed. Volume of O2 absorbed. That is called RQ. So I want to tell you what is the suppose that we are burning 1 gram of carbohydrate, and I want to know the I want to know the RQ respiratory quotients of carbohydrate. Then what will happen? I will take a data that while I was burning 1 gram of carbohydrate, how much CO2 evolved after its burning, and during the burning process, how much O2 is utilized. That is called RQ, right? So now you have what you have to remember. This is very important for your medical examination. In glucose, the RQ is always 1. Fine. For glucose, the RQ is 1. Right? These all are RQ. And for fat, so fat is RQ is 0.7. Means this is less than 1. It means oxygen, what happened? This is lower than. So what will happen?
Oxygen will be less.
Yes, oxygen will be less, and hence there will be more effort to burn it. That's why fat is considered bad food. What is RQ for protein? RQ for protein is 0.9. You have to remember all these data. And the maximum RQ is for organic acid. So for organic acid are better fuel for our body than this glucose even. That will be 1.3 to 1.4. That is RQ. Clear? So we did mechanism of breathing, we did RQ. Clear till this point? Now,
Yes, sir.
the next thing is exchange of gases between alveoli and blood, right? So we have to now study what is the exchange of gases. So exchange of gases. Put the next heading, exchange of gases between alveoli and blood. The next topic is exchange of gases between alveoli and right. How does the exchange of gases takes place between alveoli and blood? From blood, like from the lungs, how does it takes oxygen, right? So first I will try to make you understand. Then I will discuss the rest of it. Look, how does the exchange of gases takes place? Here you will see that this is the alveoli. This is the diagram of alveoli, right? This is a diagram of alveoli. What happened? This is a bronchiole. Carbon dioxide is going down, oxygen is coming over here. When oxygen is coming over here, these are called alveoli. Around the alveoli, there are some blood vessels. What these blood vessels do, they take the oxygen and they release the carbon dioxide. And that's how the exchange of gases takes place here at the surface of alveoli, right? I will show you again a diagram, and I will show you one more diagram, and then I will draw a diagram for you. Then it will become crystal clear for you. So again, there is one more diagram. Oh, it's too big. I have to make it. Look, what is happening with this one? Alveoli exchange of the gases, right? So this is the alveolar wall, right? This is the alveolar wall, means wall of alveoli, right? Blood. These are the blood capillary. Blood is flowing in these capillaries. So these are the RBC, right? So RBC is what is RBC is doing. The carbon dioxide is going outside and oxygen is coming inside. So these RBC have hemoglobin. Hemoglobin releases carbon dioxide over here and it takes back the oxygen over here. That's how the exchange of gases takes place between alveoli and what? Blood. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, why this is leaving oxygen, like taking, how it is taking oxygen and how it is removing carbon dioxide, and in fact why the carbon dioxide is going inside the alveoli and why the oxygen is coming inside? That is my question, and that's we are going to solve it, right? So let me make you a diagram for you. Let me try to make you understand with the help of a diagram. Suppose that, not suppose that, in fact there is I will draw alveoli for you. So for example, this is a alveoli. This is alveoli, right? And so one more thing. This is the alveoli, and this is a surface of blood capillary, right? So when we are talking about the alveoli, so there are further many layers of alveoli. So this layer of alveoli, what the outermost layer of alveoli, what we call that. Look, so outermost layer is called that is called basement membrane. So this is our basement membrane, not this basement membrane. Let me make it more clear. So outside of this alveoli, there is a membrane. So this membrane, I will call this membrane as a basement. So this is a basement membrane around the alveoli. So at the outer surface of alveoli, there is an external membrane, and I have called this membrane as a basement membrane. So this is called basement membrane. Basement membrane. This thing you have to draw. Basement membrane. Inside the basement membrane, there is an epithelial layer of alveoli. So this is called epithelial layer of alveoli. This is epithelial layer of alveoli. I want to make it more clear as epithelial layer of alveoli. So this is made up of epithelial cell. It is epithelial layer of alveoli. This is epithelial layer of alveoli, right? This is epithelial layer. Inside the epithelial layer, there is one more layer, right? So that is filled with a fluid-like substance that is called fluid layer or surfactant. So let me make you that also. So inside there is one more layer. There is one more layer, which is fluid with filled. When we get infection, then this come in the form of cough from our body in the form of during the time of the infection, right? So this material is called surfactant, or this material is called, this is called surfactant, right? Fluid surfactant layer. Surfactant fluid. So this is surfactant fluid. Now this is the, so this was the structure of alveoli. This is the alveoli, right? Now come to the lower part. In the lower part, while we are talking, so this layer is called again endothelial layer of capillary. So this is again this is called endothelial layer of blood capillary. And above the endothelial layer of blood capillary, there is a layer, right? So above this one, there is a layer of material. Again, this material is also called surfactant. This material is not surfactant. This material is also called basement membrane. So this is also called membrane. So here the basement membrane was of alveoli, and here the basement membrane of this is the basement membrane of blood capillary. This is basement membrane. As we know, inside the blood capillary there will be some structures, and these structures are actually RBC. So this is the RBC. This is the RBC. How does the exchange of gases takes place? So as we have already discussed, this part belongs to, this is the blood capillary. Blood capillary, and this one is alveoli. Now, why the carbon dioxide will go from RBC to alveoli. What happened during when the blood comes over here during this time? What actually happened? The partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So partial pressure carbon dioxide moves from here to this one. Carbon dioxide moves from here to surface of alveoli. What happened? The reason behind it that the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher over here. So partial pressure of carbon dioxide is 45 mmHg, 45 mmHg in alveoli, and the carbon dioxide pressure 45 mmHg in RBC, and the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in alveoli is 40 mmHg. So there is difference of 5 mmHg. It is quite obvious, you all know that gases always diffuse from higher pressure to lower pressures. That's why the diffusion of carbon dioxide will take place from the blood capillary to the alveoli. If we talk about the oxygen, now in case of the oxygen, there is something opposite. In case of the oxygen, what happened? Oxygen always moves from alveoli to carbon dioxide. Alveoli to RBC. What happened? The partial pressure of oxygen over the alveoli is 14 mmHg, while the partial pressure of oxygen in the RBC is 95 mmHg. We always know the gases move from higher pressure to lower pressure. So what happened? By this way, the diffusion of carbon dioxide takes place from RBC to alveoli, and in exchange, oxygen comes from alveoli to RBC. That's how the exchange of gases takes place between the alveoli and blood capillary. Is it clear or not? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Please note it down, this diagram. This is very important, and this is very essential for you, right? You won't find this diagram. That's why I'm telling you. Please
Sir,
note.
so this blood vessel will be attached to the alveoli?
There is, they are not directly in fact attached. So between two cells, I will tell you in circulatory system. Actually, there is never attachment of blood capillary with any of the tissue. There is a liquid between them. That liquid is called lymph, right? So the exchange of these gases and material between the tissue and between the blood capillary takes place with the help of lymph. That's why we call the lymph middleman. And lymph is like a semi-fluid like structure, yellow color semi-fluid like structure, right? So that's why I have given this gap, a small gap. Clear?
Yes, sir.
And this gap is called interstitial space. Let me write down. This gap is called interstitial space. Did you note it down? Diagram? Noting down, or you note later of the class, after the class? Whatever you want, you can. Doing it right now?
Sir, I took the screenshot.
Yeah, please take the screenshot, but provided do not take it as a screenshot only, right? Please note it down. So start noting now. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide, is 45 mmHg. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide, CO2, is 45 mmHg in RBC, 45 mmHg in RBC, and 45 mmHg in RBC, and it is 40 mmHg, and it is 40 mmHg in alveoli. Full stop. That's why CO2 moves from RBC to alveoli, alveoli, that is from higher pressure to lower pressure. That is from higher pressure to lower pressure. Next, the partial pressure of oxygen is 104 mmHg in alveoli, is 104 mmHg in alveoli, and it is only 95 mmHg, and it is only 95 mmHg, and it is only 95 mmHg in RBC. Hence, O2 diffuses from alveoli to RBC. Full stop. Next point is diffusing capacity. What is diffusing capacity? Diffusing capacity. Diffusing capacity. Note it down. What is diffusing capacity? Respiratory membrane. Now these membrane have a limit. Beyond that limit, they do not have capacity of exchange of gases. So that is called diffusing capacity. So please note it down. A respiratory membrane has a limit of gases exchange respiratory membrane has a limit of gases exchange between alveoli and pulmonary blood. Between alveoli and pulmonary blood. It is called diffusing capacity. It is called diffusing capacity. Full stop. The diffusing capacity is defined as the volume of gases that diffuses through.
Sir, can you repeat from the diffusing capacity?
Defined as the volume of gases that diffuses through membrane per minute for a pressure difference per minute for a pressure difference of 1 mmHg, for a pressure difference of 1 mmHg.
Can you repeat the line?
The diffusing capacity is defined as the volume of gases that diffuses through membrane per minute for a pressure difference of 1 mmHg. It means what it want to say. Suppose that there is a membrane and the pressure difference is 1 mmHg. Means here the pressure difference is, here the pressure is 5 mmHg and here the pressure is 4 mmHg. Then diffusion will take place from 5 to 4. Then in 1 minute, how much gas diffuse from 5 to 4? That is called diffusion capacity. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Great. Now put a note over here. Put a note below this. The diffusion of CO2 is 20 times faster than O2. Diffusion of CO2 is 20 times faster than O2. Full stop. The diffusion of O2 is 2 times faster. Diffusion of O2 is 2 times faster than nitrogen. Clear? So put the next heading. Next heading is transport of O2 in blood. So now we are going to discuss the transport of O2 and CO2. How the O2 is transported, how the CO2 is transported. Till this point, if you have any doubt, please ask me. Really. Don't hesitate. Feel free to ask me. Transport of O2 in blood. We know transport of O2 takes place from lungs to blood, then blood to tissue. We have already learned how the O2 is transported from the lungs to what? Blood capillary. Now the blood is going to deliver this O2 to tissues. So how this delivery of O2 taking place from hemoglobin, means from RBC to tissue. That's what we are going to study. Clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So start noting down the first point. So O2 is less soluble than carbon dioxide, right? So there are two things which is bringing this oxygen, that is the blood plasma and RBC, right? So there are two things which are carrying. So this is a blood capillary. Suppose that this is a blood capillary. In the blood capillary, inside the blood capillary, there are two things which are flowing. So the thing, this is the RBC, and inside the RBC there is a structure that is called HB, hemoglobin, right? So HB is a short form of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin. So what happened? This hemoglobin, you know, it is made up of two things. Let me tell you here only. Hemoglobin is made up of two things: iron plus globin protein. This is composition of hemoglobin. What happened? Hemoglobin make a bond with oxygen, right? And it forms HbO2. This HbO2 is called oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin, right? Again, it is a reversible reaction. It can dissociate as well, as we know, right? So from in lungs, it forms HbO2. When HbO2 reaches to the tissue, in tissue, it again breaks down and it delivers oxygen to the tissue, right? So some amount of, not some amount of, actually 97% of oxygen is carried by this, right? So 97% of oxygen is carried in the form of oxyhemoglobin. Now what about the 3%? So around the RBC, like in blood have two components. One RBC and another part is called blood plasma. Blood plasma. What happened? Some amount of this oxygen get dissolved with the blood plasma. This 3% is get dissolved in the blood plasma. So whenever blood reaches to the tissue, it deliver 97%. So what happened? Suppose that, let me make you tissue as well over here. So for example, this is a tissue. This is our tissue. Out of this, 3% of oxygen is provided to tissue by the blood plasma, and the rest of the 97% of oxygen is transferred to by the RBC, oxyhemoglobin. That's how the transfer, or that's how the delivery of oxygen takes place, and that's how oxygen is transported. Is it clear? Crystal clear?
Yes.
So I want you to write it down. Write the same thing, whatever I have made you to understand. Note it down. About 3% of oxygen in the blood is dissolved. About 3% of oxygen in the blood is dissolved in the plasma, which carries O2, to body cell, which carries O2 to body cell or tissue. Full stop. About
So can you say after dissolved in the
plasma, which carries O2 to body cell. Full stop. 97% of O2, 97% of O2 is dissolved with hemoglobin. 97% of O2 is dissolved with hemoglobin. Which carries O2 to body cell. In the form of oxyhemoglobin. Put this reaction below this statement. Please put this reaction: Hb plus O2, HbO2, and this reversible reaction. Next point. When oxygenated blood reaches to different tissues, the partial pressure of when oxygenated blood reaches to different tissues, the partial pressure of O2 decline and partial pressure of O2 decline and bond holding capacity of hemoglobin become unstable. Bond holding capacity of hemoglobin become unstable. As a result, O2 is released. As a result, O2 is released. As a result, O2 is released from blood capillaries to tissue. Next, put a note. This is especially for your medical examination. Put a note. So notice,
Sir, what's after blood capillaries?
that's it. Result O2 released from blood capillaries to tissue.
Okay.
Next, put a note. A normal person have 15 gram of hemoglobin. A normal person have 15 gram of hemoglobin in 100 ml of blood. A normal person have 15 gram of hemoglobin in 100 ml of blood. Full stop. 1 gram of hemoglobin bind about 1.34 ml of oxygen. Thus, under normal condition, 100 ml of blood, 100 ml of blood carry 100 ml of blood carry 19.4 ml O2. Clear?
Sir, can you please repeat from 1 gram of hemoglobin?
1 gram of hemoglobin bind about 1.34 ml of O2, about 1.34 ml of O2, full stop. Thus, on an average, under normal condition, 100 ml of blood carry about 19.4 ml of O2. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Next heading is transport of carbon dioxide. So where the carbon dioxide is transported oppositely. It is transported from tissue to the blood, right? So the next subheading is,
Sir,
yes.
sir, is this oxygen liquid, sir?
No. Oxygen actually molecular gaseous form in molecular form, not in liquid. Oxygen can be liquefied under very low temperature and very high pressure. Transport of CO2. So oxygen is transported in very simple manner, but CO2 is not transported in that simple manner. CO2 is transported in three ways. So first I want to tell you how the CO2 is transported. So first, approximately 7% of CO2, 7% of CO2 is transported in dissolved form. Dissolved with plasma. Approximately 77%, approximately not 77, 70% of CO2, I'm sorry, this is CO2. 70% of CO2 is transported as a bicarbonate ion. Bicarbonate ion form. So bicarbonate ion form is HCO3 minus form. How it is formed, we'll discuss it. Rest, what is left, that is 23%, right? Yes, 23%. So third, out of this 23%, the rest that is the 23% of CO2 is transported in the form of HbCO2. That is carboxy, in the form of carboxyhemoglobin. Carboxyhemoglobin form. Right? So there are three ways of transport of this one, CO2, right? So start noting down. First point, because of its high solubility, about 77% of CO2, because of its high solubility, about 7% of CO2 get dissolved, 7% of CO2 get dissolved in blood plasma, and carried in solution form to lungs. Full stop. Second point,
And carried.
can be where can be
No, sir.
because of its high
Is
solubility, about 7% of CO2 get dissolved in the blood plasma and is carried in solution form to lungs. Next point, the largest fraction of CO2, in bracket approximately 70%, is converted to bicarbonate ion in plasma. When CO2 diffuses, in the RBC,
Sir, can you repeat from bicarbonate ion in plasma?
Full stop. When CO2 diffuses in RBC, it combined with water and form carbonic acid. Look, Let me tell you. Bicarbonate ion bond. How it is formed actually? When carbon dioxide goes inside the RBC, it react with the it react with the plasma of carbon dioxide. So what happened? It combined with the water of that plasma. In presence of this reaction is catalyzed in presence of enzyme that is called carbonic anhydrase. So this reaction is catalyzed by carbonic anhydrase. What happened in presence of this enzyme carbonic anhydrase? It convert into H2CO3. H2CO3, you know, this is carbonic acid. But carbonic acid is not a stable compound. It is an unstable compound. Again, in the presence of the same enzyme carbonic anhydrase, this is actually reversible reaction. In the presence of same enzyme carbonic anhydrase, what happened? It breaks down into HCO3 minus, that is bicarbonate ion, bicarbonate ion plus hydrogen, right? Note it down. Note it down this reaction and let me know. Done?
Done,
H2CO3, H2CO3 is unstable and quickly dissociate. H2CO3 is unstable and quickly dissociate into bicarbonate, and hydrogen ion. Bicarbonate and hydrogen ion. Let's stop. The liberated hydrogen ion, it's very important, underline the sentence. The liberated hydrogen ion causes a little change in pH value, under resting condition. Little change in pH value under resting condition.
Can you please repeat this line?
The liberated hydrogen ion causes a little change, these hydrogen ion. The liberated hydrogen ion causes a little change in the pH value of blood under resting condition. Full stop. Hence, blood become slightly acidic. pH value declined from 7.4 to 7.34. So in next class, you have to tell me that we are going to study chloride shift. The most important thing of this chapter, chloride shift.
Sir, can you repeat from blood decline from?
Declined from 7.4 to 7.34. 7.4 to 7.34. So bicarbonate ion, they reduces the pH value of blood. So deoxygenated blood have lower pH value than normal blood. Clear? The next class we are going to study chloride shift. It's very important part of this chapter. In fact, the most important part, chloride shift and hamburger effect. They are the very important, and school authority also asked this question, but they are very important for your NEET examination. But keep it in mind that your respiratory volumes and respiratory capacity, they are very important for your medical examination. They have been asked very frequently in the multiple times, right? So tell me if you have any doubt, any question.
Sir, which parts are asked in the medical examinations?
Sorry.
Which topics you told just now that they are frequently asked in medical examinations?
The most frequently asked topic from this chapter is that respiratory volumes, which I told you, like RV, TV, ERV, IRV, those respiratory volumes, right? First thing. Second, you will get question from the transport of CO2, chloride shift, and hamburger effect. Two things. Very important. These are the only area from your you'll get the question. And your school authority will ask you like volumes, they will ask you 2-marker question. Chloride shift, that is a 5-marker or 3-marker question. Exchange of the gases, that is like 3-marker question. That is the question for the school examination. Clear? Any doubt? Shafullah, Shahid, Yushra?
No, sir.
No.
Sir, this pH change is due to H plus or HCO3 ions?
Due to H plus ion.
Yes.
Right? So see you guys in next class, and from next class we'll start from the chloride shift problem, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, bye bye, good night, take care.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.